Hello fellow daydreamers. Today I'm walking you through the making of my next travel junk journal. This time it's for my own home country, Switzerland. If you're curious to know how I memory keep and build my own books out of junk from scratch, keep watching. So after setting up everything I need with my cutting mat and my cutting utensils and something to make straight lines, basically, I am starting with figuring out which pieces of cardboard I need and how thick I want my journal to be. And for my Switzerland journal, I guess I will make many more travels in my life in my own country because it's easy, beautiful, so close to me, and that's why I thought I'll just take the whole thickness I can get from this cereal package that I have. I always build my journals out of cereal packages because I like this cardboard and it's nice big areas I can get from them. I use my ruler to sketch out where I need to cut and then line it up. Because it is out of metal, I can just line it up to the markings I made and use my little pizza slicer type cutter to get that straight, crisp cut. And once I'm happy with all the cuts and have my baseline of a journal cover, I proceed to think about how I can build dimension and more sturdiness to this cardboard. And that's me cutting some more square shapes for the two cover sides just to thicken it up a bit. And I also cut some nice boning for the spine, so it looks nice if you just see the spine, and pieces for a square flag of Switzerland to also go on the spine, so I can always see which country the journal is from if they're just in the shelf. I cut those as well and then glue them together. Need to also see that I glue the cardboard a way that it still bends, so I can still use it as a book and it's not lying flat or lifting up when I try to bend it, which needs a little bit of fine-tuning, and it's like trial and error until you get it right, but I always get it right in the end. I just need to have some patience during the process. I also opted for some nice decoration, some nice little edges that decorate the covers on both sides, so that there's just more going on than just a plain blank side, basically. Once I have everything in place, I paint it with my acrylic colors. And for Switzerland, because our flag is white and red, it's a white cross on a red background, I thought red would be a nice color that I associate with this country. So I went for red, and to give it some more interest, I went over it with a sponge and sponged on some white as well. So we have both colors of the flag on the whole cover itself. And when I'm done with that, I fixate it with this nice spray that will protect the color. As you've seen before, I've left quite a big circle on the cover that is not painted. That is because I will put picture on this side, which I decided will be round to counteract all these rectangular shapes and be more interesting. I always put one of those pictures on the covers that for me represent the country well. So for Scotland I did Lallybroch, which is a castle from the Outlander series. For Hamburg I did the Elbphilharmonie, like a big piece of architecture building that is famous for Hamburg. So for Switzerland I thought the most fitting one would be the Matterhorn. In English that would be the Peak of the Meadows, which is the mountain that everyone associates with Switzerland, even though half of that mountain is actually part of the country of Italy. It's still a famous Swiss landmark. And I'm also, like you've seen, painted the Swiss flag. Well, this journal will be for me to memory keep all my travels that I do throughout Switzerland. So there will be photos, memorabilia, like different things I gather in places, basically junk, but together with the photos it still has meaning to me, and that is what I strive for in these journals. I do them after my travels to reflect on them. Normally I also build the journals only after I did the travel, so I can take up the whole vibe of the country. But I already know this country because I live in it, so I thought I'd just do it now, because I'm doing 2 travels inside Switzerland this summer, so I wanted to be prepared for them. As for the inside of the cover, I put down one enforcing fabric for the spine, because this one is not double layered yet, well, except for the little boning pieces on the outside. And I always use some kind of fabric there because that is more flexible than cardstock. And I still had this red kind of raincoat material fabric left from one of my carnival costumes that we've sewn. Apart from that, I'm also using some more cardstock to line the inside of the journal, but I didn't have a fitting pattern for Switzerland, so I decided on some papers that I've just kept from different magazines I got or advertisements, etc., to collage something on the inside that reminds me of Switzerland. So you have different papers that sometimes picture Swiss places or just objects I associate with Switzerland, a train for example, or this ice cream, well, specifically the ice cream spoon that I associate with the south of Switzerland, the Tessin, the Gino, which I will be going to this summer. It will be a really varied journal anyway, because Switzerland has so many different areas that I can visit separately. First of all, we have 4 different languages that are spoken in this country. We have mountains, lakes, cities, so many different landscapes. And now you you can see the signatures that I've built. I've built 5, each one with 4 or 5 papers in them, to not have a too thick journal at the beginning, because it will get a lot thicker once I actually start putting memories in. Most of the papers come from thrift shops, from old books that were really cheap to buy, but I really like this old vintage feeling they have. So I picked some fairy tale illustrations, pages with old text fonts, some botanical ones with common flowers and mushrooms here. I also have a page of a Berner Sennenhund, that is a dog that originates from my country, and many more like that. So some pages needed to be stuck together with washi tape because they came off in the process of removing them from their original books. So I'm going through everything and see that everything is solid enough to be bound together. To actually bind the book together, I've used embroidery yarn here and a thicker needle. Well, it had this nice white color that fit the whole cover. I also made a cardboard stencil, so all the signatures would line up and the holes are all in one line, so it looks nice from the outside and works from the inside. And I fixate also the pages together so they don't move while I sew. And I always try to bring in some contrast in colors, textures and format in the pages, so that they are already interesting and inspiring to me without me having put something on them yet. And I will further embellish them with washi, pockets, flaps, many different kinds of interactive things once I get to the journaling. In the end, it will come together once I actually have documented travels in this book. This is a basic 3-hole sewage, so it's out through the middle hole, in on one of the others, it doesn't matter. Out the last one. And in on the middle one again, so you can tie a knot then. I also already put a little pocket in the front of the inside cover to put down like a library card where I can log down different travels on different dates with different people, because this is like a whole gathering of I don't know how many travels, because sometimes I do a journal for just one specific trip, but this one will go on for years and years. From the cut off edges from the inside paper that I needed to cut off to fit all the pages in this format of the journal, I made some paper beads from that. So I rolled them over a knitting needle and fixated them with glue, so they make really nice parts of dangles. So I also now, once I've finished everything else, this like the last step I do is build a dangle, which will then lay nicely on top of the spine, and you can see it really well if you put the book in the shelf. It sparks so much joy, these dangles. So it's a mix of paper beads, wooden beads, broken jewelry, and this wooden cow that I got in Switzerland that also stands for a country. But it was so sweet. And in this final flip, you can now see what I have so far in this empty, but still not really empty journal. Kind of my life goal is to one day have one shelf full of these travel journals of all my different adventures that I was on, full with fond memories and photos and journaling, of course. And I can, like, on cold autumn or winter days, just pick one out and look back on what I did like 20 years ago. I think this would be so great. And yeah, the family grows. It's like my 4th journal now, and we'll see how this continues. I'm so glad that I discovered this community of junk journal documenting people, because I just don't think memory keeping in digital way or something else works for me. I really need to sit down after a travel and reflect and rethink about what I did to appreciate it one more time. And then every time after that, when I look back at the journal, I think it's such a beautiful thing, creating memories. Thank you so much for watching, and if you like content like this or bullet journaling and some lifestyle things on the side, please subscribe and dream along. I'll see you there. Goodbye.